What if I told you that one of the most common surgeries in America, performed over 3,000 times every single day, could actually set you up for long-term health problems you were never warned about? You've probably heard doctors say, the gallbladder isn't essential. If it causes trouble, just remove it. But here's the shocking truth. Losing this tiny organ could silently increase your risk of cancer, disrupt your digestion, drain your energy, and even affect your mood. It sounds unbelievable, right? A small pouch under your liver, dismissed as unnecessary, may actually be one of the most underestimated organs in your entire body. And the biggest lie? That you have no other choice. Welcome to the Nutrition Institute. In this video, I'm going to break down the myths you've been told about your gallbladder, expose the real consequences of removing it, and reveal natural solutions most surgeons never mention. So, before you let anyone convince you that surgery is the only way forward, stay with me until the very end, because what you learn today could completely change how you protect your health tomorrow. Don't forget to hit subscribe to support this channel so we can keep bringing you powerful, life-changing content. When I first started learning about the gallbladder, I thought it was just a useless little pouch tucked under the liver. Doctors and health articles always made it sound like an unnecessary spare part, something you could remove without consequence if it ever caused trouble. For years, I never questioned that idea, but the deeper I dug, the more disturbing the truth became, and it completely changed the way I look at this small but powerful organ. Let's start with the numbers. Every single day in the United States, over 3,000 people undergo gallbladder removal surgery. That's more than 1 million people each year. It's considered one of the most routine procedures in modern medicine. Surgeons reassure patients that life without a gallbladder is just as good, if not better, than life with one. They describe it as a simple fix to pain, gallstones, and digestive issues. But what they don't emphasize is what really happens once that organ is gone. And this is where the story takes a shocking turn. The gallbladder isn't just a storage pouch for bile, as it's often described. It's more like a command center for fat digestion, nutrient absorption, and even hormone balance. Picture this. Every time you eat a meal, especially one that contains fat, the gallbladder springs into action. It contracts and pushes out concentrated bile into your small intestine, where it breaks down fats into absorbable pieces. Without that surge of bile, your body struggles to pull essential nutrients from your food, nutrients like vitamins A, D, E, and K, plus omega-3 fatty acids. Now think about what that means in real life. Vitamin A supports your vision and your immune system. Vitamin D regulates your mood and strengthens your bones. Vitamin E protects your cells from damage, while vitamin K plays a critical role in blood clotting and heart health. Omega-3s are famous for reducing inflammation, boosting brain function, and protecting your heart. Without adequate bile release, your body can't fully absorb these life-saving nutrients, no matter how much salmon, spinach, or supplements you consume. This is the first big shock most people never hear. Removing the gallbladder can leave you chronically short on nutrients, even if your diet looks healthy on paper. But that's not all. The gallbladder also acts as a regulator for cholesterol. High cholesterol is often treated as a problem with the heart or blood vessels, but the truth is that bile, stored and released by the gallbladder, is the body's main way of dealing with excess cholesterol. When the gallbladder is gone, this natural regulation is disrupted. Instead of being processed efficiently, cholesterol can build up, increasing your risk for new health problems. Even more surprising, the gallbladder plays a quiet but powerful role in immune defense. Concentrated bile has antimicrobial properties. It helps break down harmful bacteria and viruses that try to sneak through your digestive tract. Imagine living without that shield. Suddenly, your gut becomes more vulnerable to infections, imbalances, and inflammation. And it doesn't stop there. The gallbladder and its bile are tied to blood sugar regulation and hunger control. They even influence detoxification. Bile carries waste and toxins out of the body, and it triggers glutathione, one of the body's most powerful antioxidants. Glutathione is often called the master antioxidant because of how critical it is in protecting cells and repairing damage. Without enough bile flow, your body produces less glutathione, leaving you more exposed to oxidative stress, aging, and chronic illness. Perhaps the most unexpected connection is between bile and the thyroid. Thyroid hormones are essential for energy, metabolism, and overall vitality. Bile helps activate these hormones so they can do their job properly. That means people struggling with thyroid issues, low energy, weight gain, sluggish metabolism may actually be dealing with an underlying bile or gallbladder problem. Imagine how many cases are misdiagnosed because doctors overlook this hidden link. So when surgeons tell patients, your gallbladder is unnecessary, you'll be fine without it, they're not painting the full picture. Yes, the liver still makes bile, but without the gallbladder, bile drips slowly and inconsistently into the intestine. There's no surge, no concentration, no proper timing with meals. It's like trying to wash greasy dishes with a slow trickle of cold water instead of a powerful stream of hot soapy water. The job never gets done right. People who have had their gallbladders removed often discover this the hard way. At first, they may feel relief from the pain of gallstones or inflammation, but over time, subtle issues creep in: chronic indigestion, frequent diarrhea, unexplained fatigue, even mood swings. Some studies show that as many as 40% of people who undergo gallbladder removal develop persistent symptoms, sometimes decades after the surgery. These problems are often brushed off as normal aging or unrelated issues, but the connection is undeniable, and the consequences can be even more severe. Research has found that removing the gallbladder raises the risk of certain cancers: colon cancer by 11%, liver cancer by 60%, pancreatic cancer by 22%, and bile duct cancer by 45%. These are not small numbers. They are warnings that what we've been told about the gallbladder being non-essential is dangerously misleading. When I first discovered this, I felt betrayed by the oversimplified advice people are given. Of course, there are times when surgery is truly necessary, for example, in emergencies where the gallbladder is infected or life-threateningly inflamed. But for many people, surgery is presented as the only option, when in reality, there are other ways to address gallbladder issues. Natural bile salts, dietary changes, and lifestyle adjustments can make a huge difference. Unfortunately, most patients never even hear about these alternatives before they're wheeled into the operating room. To me, this is the heart of the problem. People are making life-altering decisions without being given the full story. If you knew that cutting out your gallbladder might not only cause digestive distress, but also increase your risk of cancer, wouldn't you want to explore every other possibility first? That's why I believe the gallbladder deserves far more respect and attention than it gets. It may be small, but it's anything but insignificant. Losing it can change your body in ways you'll feel for years, maybe for the rest of your life. And that's the shocking truth I wish more people understood before agreeing to what's often treated as a routine surgery. When I first began questioning what I'd been told about gallbladder removal, one of the most shocking discoveries was how many myths surround this surgery. These myths aren't harmless misunderstandings. They shape the decisions of millions of people who walk into a hospital thinking they have no choice but to give up their gallbladder. And for many of them, the consequences last a lifetime. I want to walk you through 6 of the biggest lies people are told and share the truth that I wish more doctors would discuss openly. Lie hash 1. There are no other options besides surgery. This is the most common statement patients hear. If you're in pain from gallstones, if your scans show blockages, the conversation often jumps straight to removal. It's presented as the only logical option, a quick fix that ends the problem for good. But here's what I discovered. There are other options. For example, bile salt supplements can help dissolve gallstones over time. Some studies show that with consistent use, up to 80% of patients experience improvement or even stone dissolution within a year. Other approaches include using sound waves to break stones into smaller pieces, or procedures that remove the stones without sacrificing the entire gallbladder. Of course, these methods take time, patience, and sometimes lifestyle changes. They don't fit the fast solution model that modern medicine favors, but to say there are no alternatives is simply false. Lay hash 2. If your gallbladder forms stones, it's diseased and must be removed. Think about that for a moment. Stones are treated as proof that the gallbladder itself is defective, but in reality, gallstones are a symptom, not a disease. They're often the result of metabolic imbalances, poor diet, or insufficient bile salts. Removing the gallbladder doesn't fix the root cause. It just eliminates the place where the problem showed up. It's like blaming the smoke detector when your kitchen catches fire. Taking the detector off the wall doesn't stop the fire from burning. In the same way, cutting out the gallbladder doesn't automatically correct the lifestyle or dietary issues that led to the stones in the first place. Lay hash 3. Diet has nothing to do with gallstones. This one nearly made me laugh out loud, except it's not, because people's health is at stake. The gallbladder is part of the digestive system. How could diet not play a role in its health? Gallstones often form when cholesterol becomes too concentrated and bile salts are too low. What affects cholesterol levels and bile production more than anything else? The foods we eat. Diets high in refined carbs, sugar, and processed seed oils contribute to poor bile quality. On the other hand, diets rich in healthy fats, so the omega-3s and nutrients like choline actually strengthen bile and support gallbladder function. To tell a patient that diet is irrelevant is not only misleading, it robs them of one of the most powerful tools they have to heal naturally. Lay hash 4. Gallbladder removal does not cause complications. This one might be the most dangerous myth of all, because while surgery can relieve acute pain, it doesn't end the story. Studies show that up to 40% of people who have their gallbladder removed continue to experience symptoms years, even decades later. These symptoms include chronic diarrhea, indigestion, bloating, gastritis, and even mental health issues like depression and anxiety. More alarming, the absence of a gallbladder has been linked to significantly higher risks of cancer, liver cancer by 60%, colon cancer by 11%, pancreatic cancer by 22%, and bile duct cancer by 45%. When I first read those numbers, I felt a wave of anger. How many people agree to surgery under the impression it's harmless, only to find themselves dealing with lifelong issues they were never warned about? Calling this a minor procedure feels like a betrayal of trust. Lay hash 5. Post-cholecystectomy syndrome is controversial. Doctors sometimes dismiss the collection of symptoms people experience after gallbladder removal as vague or exaggerated. They suggest it's controversial, as if the suffering isn't real, but anyone who's lived through it knows it's very real. The medical term for it is post-cholecystectomy syndrome. It includes digestive pain, diarrhea, food intolerances, and fatigue, and it's recognized in mainstream medical literature. You can look it up yourself. The controversy isn't about whether it exists, but about why it happens and how to manage it. Unfortunately, many patients are left on their own to deal with the fallout. Lay #6. Even if gallstones come from pregnancy, you still need surgery. This one hits especially hard because it affects women during a vulnerable time. Pregnancy naturally increases estrogen levels, which can slow bile flow and encourage stone formation. But often, these stones shrink or disappear once hormone levels normalize after childbirth. To insist on surgery in these cases, without waiting to see if the problem resolves naturally, feels reckless. The same applies to stones linked to birth control pills, which also raise estrogen. Instead of addressing the hormonal trigger, the default response is to cut out the gallbladder. The bigger picture, as I pieced all of this together, the pattern became clear. The lies all point in one direction, towards surgery as the first and only answer. And while surgery has its place in emergencies, or when every other method fails, it should never be the default. The truth is that lifestyle changes, targeted supplements, and diet adjustments can make a huge difference. Eating fewer carbs and sugars, avoiding inflammatory seed oils, and focusing on nutrient-dense foods like eggs, liver, fatty fish, and bitter greens can restore bile balance. Intermittent fasting allows bile to concentrate properly, helping dissolve stones naturally. Even simple habits like adding lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, or ginger tea can stimulate healthier bile flow. When I started applying these changes in my own life, the impact was undeniable. I felt lighter, more energetic, and digestion became smoother. I realized how close I'd been to believing the myth that my gallbladder didn't matter. My reflection, looking back, I think the real tragedy is how rarely patients are given a chance to make a fully informed choice. Too often, people sign consent forms without knowing that alternatives exist or that complications are common. They don't realize that by removing the gallbladder, they might be trading one set of problems for another. That's why I'm sharing this, so you know the truth before you face that decision. If your doctor tells you surgery is your only option, pause, ask questions, research natural strategies, seek a second opinion. Your gallbladder isn't a disposable organ. It's a key player in digestion, metabolism, and overall health. And while removing it might sometimes save your life, don't let anyone convince you it's always the only answer. When I finished learning about the lies and half-truths surrounding gallbladder surgery, I was left with one big question. What now? If surgery isn't the only answer, and in many cases, not even the best one, then what should we do to protect our health? This is where things become both empowering and humbling. Empowering, because there are practical steps we can take. Humbling, because those steps require us to accept responsibility for how our daily choices affect our bodies. The gallbladder may be small, but its health reflects the larger story of our diet, metabolism, and lifestyle. Looking at the bigger picture, for too long, I treated health like a series of isolated problems. If you have stomach pain, you take an antacid. If you have high cholesterol, you take a pill. If you have gallstones, you get surgery. Each issue is boxed off from the others. But the gallbladder taught me something different. Everything is connected. Gallstones don't just appear out of nowhere. They are the end result of imbalances in diet, hormones, and metabolism. If we don't address those imbalances, we'll just trade one problem for another. That's why protecting your gallbladder isn't only about avoiding surgery. It's about building a foundation of health that supports digestion, energy, and resilience for years to come. The role of food. Let's start with the obvious, diet. I used to believe in low-fat eating, thinking fat was the enemy. But the irony is that a diet too low in fat can actually weaken bile production. Cholesterol is the raw material for bile, and without enough of it, your body struggles to produce the bile needed to digest fat properly. This was eye-opening for me. Foods I once avoided, eggs, butter, shellfish, fatty fish, even liver, turned out to be allies for bile health. They not only provide cholesterol, but also nutrients like choline, which directly supports bile production. Choline is like fuel for the gallbladder, helping it create and release bile efficiently. At the same time, it's equally important to cut out the foods that make bile sluggish and gallstones more likely. Processed seed oils, refined carbs, and sugary foods top the list. These ingredients not only spike insulin, but also create inflammation that disrupts the delicate balance of cholesterol and bile salts. When I shifted my diet toward whole, nutrient-dense foods, fatty fish, leafy greens, citrus fruits, fermented vegetables, and herbs like ginger and turmeric, I noticed something remarkable. My digestion felt smoother. Meals no longer left me bloated or heavy. It was as if my body had been waiting for me to feed it properly all along. The power of intermittent fasting. Another piece of the puzzle is when we eat, not just what we eat. Modern life encourages constant snacking, eating from morning until night. But this never gives the gallbladder a chance to rest and recharge. Intermittent fasting changed that for me by spacing out meals and allowing longer breaks between them. I gave my gallbladder the opportunity to concentrate bile. That concentrated bile is more effective at breaking down fats and even dissolving stones. The first few days were tough, hunger pangs, old habits whispering that I needed a snack. But soon, my body adjusted, my energy became steadier, my cravings faded, and digestion became more efficient. It wasn't just about losing weight, it was about giving my digestive system the rhythm it needed to thrive, supporting bile flow naturally. Beyond food and fasting, there are small but powerful ways to encourage bile flow. Bitter greens like arugula and radish, citrus fruits like lemon and lime, and fermented foods like sauerkraut all stimulate the gallbladder. Even simple practices like drinking water with a splash of apple cider vinegar before meals or adding ginger and turmeric to recipes can make a noticeable difference. I also discovered that stomach acid plays a role. When stomach acid is too weak, it fails to trigger bile release properly. Supporting stomach acid with beta-ion HCl or apple cider vinegar can restore this trigger, ensuring the gallbladder gets the signal to contract. It felt like putting puzzle pieces together. Suddenly, I saw how the gallbladder isn't just an isolated organ, but part of a whole system: stomach, liver, pancreas, and gut microbes, all working in harmony. Stress and the gallbladder. One surprising connection I hadn't considered before was stress. Chronic stress raises cortisol levels, which suppress bile production. It's as if the body, under stress, decides digestion isn't a priority. But over time, this slowdown creates the perfect environment for gallstones to form. I realized that protecting my gallbladder meant more than just eating right. It meant managing stress through meditation, exercise, or even simple breathing exercises. Every step I took to calm my mind helped my body. 2. The gallbladder as a teacher. In many ways, the gallbladder became my teacher. It showed me that health isn't about quick fixes or cutting parts out. It's about respecting the body's design and supporting it with the right choices. The more I studied and experimented, the more I understood why so many people suffer after gallbladder removal. It's not just about missing an organ. It's about losing a regulator that plays a role in digestion, metabolism, immunity, and detoxification. To me, the gallbladder is proof that no organ is truly unnecessary. Each one is woven into the fabric of our health in ways we may not fully appreciate until it's gone. Looking ahead, so where does this leave us? For me, it's a call to action. Instead of waiting until problems become emergencies, we can start now with food, fasting, stress management, and mindful choices. Protecting your gallbladder isn't just about avoiding surgery. It's about protecting your entire future health. I often ask myself, what kind of health do I want in 10, 20, or 30 years? The answer always comes back to the small, daily habits I choose today. Every meal, every moment of stress, every choice to rest or move, it all adds up. And that's the message I want to leave with you. Your gallbladder may be small, but the choices you make to protect it can shape the quality of your life for decades to come. So let me ask you, have you ever considered that your digestive health might hold the key to your energy, mood, and long-term wellness? And if so, what's one change you're willing to make today to give your body and your gallbladder the support it deserves? Looking back at everything I've learned about the gallbladder, one truth stands out above all. No organ in the human body is truly disposable. For years, I believed what so many people are told, that the gallbladder is just a small pouch, a minor player, something you can live without. But the reality is very different. The gallbladder is a gatekeeper for digestion, a regulator of cholesterol, a defender against harmful microbes, and a partner in detoxification and hormone balance. When it's removed, the body doesn't collapse overnight, but the cracks begin to show. Poor absorption of vital nutrients, persistent digestive issues, and increased risks of serious disease slowly take their toll. And yet, these long-term consequences are rarely explained to patients before they make a life-altering decision. That, to me, is one of the greatest failures in modern healthcare, presenting surgery as the only option without sharing the full story. From my own experience and research, I've realized that protecting the gallbladder is really about protecting the bigger picture of health. The foods we eat, the timing of our meals, our stress levels, even the quality of our sleep, all of these influence whether the gallbladder thrives or struggles. It's not just about avoiding gallstones. It's about giving the body what it was designed to work with: whole, nourishing foods, periods of rest through fasting, and a lifestyle that reduces stress rather than adds to it. The most important lesson I've taken from this journey is that prevention is always better than reaction. If we care for our bodies consistently, we can often avoid the desperation that leads to surgery in the first place. And if we're already facing gallbladder challenges, it's never too late to make changes that support healing and improve quality of life. For me personally, this shift in perspective has been transformative. I've stopped fearing fat and started appreciating the role of healthy fats in bile production. I've embraced intermittent fasting not as a punishment, but as a gift to my digestive system. And I've learned to respect stress as a silent saboteur of bile flow, reminding me to slow down and breathe. These small choices add up, and I feel the difference every day. So here's my takeaway. Your gallbladder is not your enemy. It's a vital ally, one that deserves protection and respect. By supporting it, you're not only preventing gallbladder issues, you're investing in better digestion, stronger immunity, clearer energy, and a healthier future. Now I'd like to hear from you. What's one small change you could make today to support your digestion and overall health? Share your thoughts in the comments below so others can learn from your experience too. And if you found this video valuable, please hit subscribe to support the Nutrition Institute. Your support gives us the motivation to keep creating content that empowers you to take control of your health.